Good evening, welcome to Four Lads Rangers Midweek Live. With myself, Stevie, joined by Ross and Kenny this evening. Good evening, Ross. How are you, mate? You well?
Very good, Stephen. Very good, thanks. Busy day. Weather's took a downturn, but we're here. First time getting to talk about a Rangers' good performance on here, even though it's a few days later. But yeah, happy to be joining you, mate.
Yeah, it's absolutely pissing it down. It's a shame that there's an event in Glasgow tonight and people might get wet. Good evening, Kenny. How are you, mate? Are you well? Kenny, you going to talk to us? No?
Yes, I am. Yes, I was just laughing. Yeah, I'm all right as well, mate. Tried to fix a washing machine today or this morning. Ended up having to buy a new one. So it's been a costly wee day. But yeah, looking forward to this, buddy.
Before we start, I am going to go through the sponsors and I'm going to do it perfectly. So here goes. Big thanks to our sponsor, CBD Oil Scotland. You can get them 50% off on their website by entering 4Lads. Also to Candid, LBJ Consultants, Elite Scooter Scotland, Metaclad 4Lads, official roofing partner, Aesthetics Lounge by Sharon. You can get 10% off when quoting 4Lads on their website or making a booking. And also Denhay, quintessential British bacon, and also Athol Industrial Solutions. Yes! Done it, Kenny. Told you I could get there. I was getting stick the other night, wasn't I? Athletics.
Proud of you, mate. Proud of you.
But yeah, it's difficult. It's difficult. But thank you to all our sponsors. Gentlemen, start with just a wee bit of news before we talk about signings and stuff. The game tomorrow night is on exclusively on RTV. If you want to watch both legs live, I'm just going to bring up Rangers post about it. It's the only way to watch it. It is not on live on telly. So the only way to watch both games. So match passes are available for $10.99 or secure both legs with our 2-match bundle for just $16.99. Sales will close at 6:15 p.m. tomorrow night, 90 minutes before kickoff. Okay, if you buy both the 2-match bundle, you will get the game tomorrow night kicks off at 7:45, and then the game the following Thursday, which kicks off at 5 o'clock. So that is exclusive to Rangers TV. Gentlemen, that all said and done, Rangers have made their 11th signing of the summer with Cust Nedeljkovic arriving on loan from Aston Villa. Rangers heeding my plea for them to sign some people that are easy to announce. Conditional obligation to buy for $4 million, depending on how many games he plays. 20 years old. He's a Serbian, familiar friend of Vanja Dragicevic. Said that Vanja was a perfect agent while he discussed it. He said as soon as he spoke to Derek McInnes, he was delighted to be here. Feels right at home already. Started at Red Star Belgrade on loan at RB Leipzig for the last 18 months or so. Interesting that we went for a right back, given everything that's happened with Dujon and Ross McCrory being there. Obviously tells us a story somewhat. But Kenny, what do you make of this Costa Nedeljkovic arriving?
I'm delighted that he's here. You can never have too many good players, that's for sure. However, it does say something about the fact that we've got 2 right backs, and it's been determined by the powers that be up there that we actually need a proper right back. We know Dujon Sterling's medical history, so I can understand that. And if I'm being honest, I think Ross McCrory's been brought in probably more of as an auxiliary player anyway. I don't think he would have been brought in as the first choice right back anyway. So Ross McCrory can play anywhere across the back four, and he's playing in goal for us, is he not, at one point, if I remember right? But he can play as a holding midfielder as well. So I like this. This boy's a good player. He's rapid. He is incredibly fast. He's got plenty to learn in the game, I'm sure. But if you can go and play plenty of games in the Bundesliga for a top Bundesliga side, a decent side that's in Europe every year, you're signing a decent player. His injury issues are well known. He's had a few himself, so that can happen with a young player. So let's hope we get the full season out of him, and he makes the deal permanent. It's the job, the position's there for him. It's that simple. It's there for him to keep. It's a bit like James Penrice and what he said at the weekend. The two Romans is injured, and I want to keep this up. So he's got the opportunity, surely. So quite delighted with it, Stevie.
Ross, what's your thoughts on the arrival of Costa Nedeljkovic?
I'm going to call him Big Ned, Stevie. See, I'm different. I'm not going to even attempt it. So, no, good to have a player in the door who can compete at right back. I actually think 1-to-1 defending, Sterling is good enough to play for Rangers. But the issue you've got is he can't play 3 games in a week. So if you're playing Sunday, Thursday, Sunday, then he's not playing one of those games as a bare minimum. So to get someone in, hallelujah, on a deal that actually makes sense, a loan that's not an obligation to buy outright, but has the attachment to it that he's going to need to prove his fitness and play games. Maybe we are learning something, Stevie. Maybe we're actually learning from the mistakes of like your Oscar Cortezes and players like that. So I think having an all right back is good. I think what it also does is gives you Sterling and McCrory, as Kenny alluded to, as utility players who can fill in at left back if Penrice and Romans, if you were to have an injury crisis there, and also 2 who can play in at centre half as well. They can kind of cover. Sterling especially has already covered in at centre half for us this season. So I think it ticks boxes all across the defence because it frees up McCrory to be a plug and play as and when you need them. Hopefully won't need them so much. But no, good to see the structure of the deal being made with common sense. Good to see a player who's exciting, who's played at a decent level. And also really good to see in the signing video Dragojevic coming in on his night off to kind of surprise him walking out the kit room when he was doing his stadium tour and stuff like that. So it's good that he's got a friend there and he's settling into a new country with a countryman there who he's known for years, and for them to have that kind of camaraderie as opposed to 2 young guys coming across on their own and maybe struggling to adapt. So I can't see any negatives in it, Stevie, but I have said that before and they end up rubbish, so we'll hold our fire on it for now. It seems good for the outside looking in is where I'll leave it.
Listen, we're supporters, everything seems good. We're allowed to be excited about guys coming in. We're allowed to go, yeah, this seems like an okay deal to do. So I don't see any downsides. There is a concern about his injury record, but he's got speed, he's got power, he's got recovery pace, which you need as well. He can be fast but slow off the mark. He doesn't seem to be. So yeah, I think he's got all the talent there. Conditional obligation to buy for us is sensible. But I wanted to talk a wee bit about something else that Derek McInnes said and what it means for his transfers. He says that they're not looking for a centre-back at this moment in time. Now, we know that Ross McCrory and Dujon Sterling can play at centre-back. Has he then seen enough of Dujon Sterling that he's decided that he can cover at centre-back? Because we've only really got Fernandez, Godfrey and McInnes. And the thing about Godfrey is he's a bit of an unknown quality. He's not been fit, really, has he? So if the forward places, the wingers and the strikers, which he said is his priority, which we'll talk about in a bit, is the priority and centre-back isn't, then are we leaving ourselves short there, Kenny? I don't think it's dependent on John Souttar. John Souttar's been in full training for the last God knows how long. So what is he telling us here?
Yeah, I thought that as well. I found it a little bit. Bear in mind, just last week he was saying that centre half was one of the ones that was kind of a priority. have they turned around and looked at that and said the opportunity to get this lad, this Serbian kid in, is too big an opportunity, and the fact that Dujon Sterling and Ross McCrory can both play there means that maybe even just till January they can look at it and say, look, we've got priorities up front. He said it all again today, that's his priority next from here on in, is to get top quality and up, up as far up the pitch as he can. So it might be just that if you look at it with Penrice coming in, that's 2 left backs, you've got 3 right backs, you've got 3 centre halves, depending on what John Souttar does, as you say, but 2 of those right backs can play at centre half. So it might just be that he is looking at it and saying, right, I don't know if it's maybe just that something's going on with John Souttar, because I expect if John Souttar was to go, he would bring somebody in. And maybe John Souttar, now we've been told all summer that John Souttar's talking to so-and-so and so-and-so and so-and-so. Well, he's done an awful lot of talking and not moved on. So has he not been offered the kind of wages he's on here, and that's the kind of stumbling block in it? Perhaps, I don't know. But I found it a little bit odd. But then again, there is almost a self-explanatory kind of reason for it when you know that their 2 right backs can both play in the middle of the defence, So interesting one. That's what I would say. A very interesting one, because I was pretty certain we'd be bringing one in, and we're not by all accounts now. So
yeah, I wonder if he's had a look at McInnes and maybe thinks that he's going to be the one that he really needs and he's going to play every week. We just don't know. For me personally, if McInnes is going to play every week, then he's playing next to Godfrey, because he's not playing next to Fernandez for at the moment. Needs to buck up his ideas a wee bit. I'm surprised Ross are not bringing in another centre back, because they have kind of spoke about it, but they seem to have changed tack. What the managers, I assume it's the manager, because in Kenny's notes he said Mabifer on Nedeljkovic, and I'm pretty sure he means manager. So he says he's enthusiastic, athletic, and ability to get up and down the pitch. That's what you need on that right hand side. We need some. If we're going to have Penrice attacking like he did on Sunday rather, and we get Nedeljkovic attacking on the other side, if we can fix the wings, we're going to all of a sudden have more options in attack. And if we've got a more defensive minded midfield, which we do, most of them are defensively minded, then if our main stuff's going to come down the wings and stuff like that, then we look better.
Yeah, and it seems to be the way Derek seems to have built his squad, Stevie, with wingers that can come inside on their opposite foot, play inverted to allow the fullbacks to bomb on. And on the centre halves, I think I'm actually all right with it, to be honest. You're looking at McInnes and Fernandez seem to be pretty robust anyway. You've then got Godfrey, who, as you say, is an unknown quantity. And then you've got Sterling and McCrory, who are also unknown quantities. McCrory, as we know, has been playing through injury. But what I would say is I don't see John Souttar kicking a ball for Rangers again when Enciala was ahead of him in the Euro squad. I take it Enciala will be removed from that to allow Penrice in and someone else for Big Ned to get in. I don't know if that's been confirmed yet, but you would imagine that would happen.
I believe it's Cameron out, Penrice in, Enciala out, Nedeljkovic in. I believe that's what they're doing.
That would make sense, Stevie. I think the squad's been built that's where we get our width, and I think that it's good. Again, that we've got are asking Cammy Devlin, players that can play that 6 to fill in. As I call it, the Ryan Jack role. It's exactly what he did when Tav was crossing for Borna and vice versa. If the ball broke down the left, Ryan Jack sat the 6 and just fed it to either side to act as a kind of blocker until they could get back. I think Raskin, I was listening to the podcast you done after the game, Stephen. I heard you saying it. When Raskin sits in the 6 and is really disciplined, he's very effective. And that's all Cammy's going to offer you. So it'll be really imperative, I think, that we keep those two fit, fresh and sharp in order to be able to rotate them. Where there could potentially be a problem is if Nico is to move late on in the window. I think you would need to replace him, because I don't think, and especially after watching the game at the weekend, Chukwani, Drago, I wouldn't want them sitting in as sixes, especially Dragijevic, who looks as if he's going to be a real goal threat for anything that drops within 30 yards. And I don't just say that because he scored one Worldie, but at the Hibs game, first half, he had two. He looks as if he can strike a ball for distance. So I would rather have that one solid six sitting and your 2 8s kind of box to box in front. So I like the way we're setting up at the moment. I think I hope he six with a 4-3-3. And again, the squad seems to be getting built different for his Hearts squad, but potentially he's now realised that at Rangers he's going to have better options going forward, that he can be a bit more free flowing, a bit more free flowing in the last third of the pitch, if he can get somebody just to trust to close the back door for us.
How long is Godfrey out? The answer to that is he should be back for the away leg next week. That's what the manager said at the weekend. He said he's happy, but
your audio's gone, Stevie.
sorry. He was saying that Penrice and Nedeljkovic both in the Euro squad, waiting on Nedeljkovic's clearance, but he should be fine. I would expect those are the changes. Nsiala comes out, Nedeljkovic comes in, and Penrice will replace Cameron. That seems to be what's been said. He talked a wee bit about Nico Raskin, said he'd been a pleasure to work with, a dream he called him, actually, which is amazing because everybody has been telling me for ages that Nico Raskin is a problem in the dressing room and wouldn't listen to me when I said he wasn't, but it is what it is. He's no doubt things are going on in the background, but until anything happens, everything carries on as normal. I think that's obvious. I think really Nico Raskin is one of our best players when he turns it on. So we just need to put it to him. If you want to move, then you need to perform at your best, Kenny Ross. I don't think it's difficult.
No, it isn't. It's totally understandable. The boys had a good World Cup, Nico Raskin. There's no doubt of that. It's a prime time for Rangers to sell. He's got 2 years left in his contract. If he's not going to stay here for the rest of his career, it is kind of paramount that we get what we can for him. And with each passing month from this window shutting, the valuation is going to go down. It is that simple. So we'll wait and see what happens. You'll be the same as me, guys. I don't think Nico's in any desperate rush or whatever to get out of Rangers. I think he loves it here. I think he loves the city. I don't think he's that bothered. I think it's just if he can get the right club in one of the top 5 leagues, I think he'd be delighted to get that, and more than delighted to see Rangers get good money for him. I think that would be, the best part in the ways you could possibly wish for, and he could come back later in his career if he wished and stuff like that. But for me, it's just every single player's got their price. It is that simple, and we have to just wait and see. And it'll get crazy next week. I think that's the problem with the window shutting. It's going to get a bit daft, and it wouldn't surprise me if we see one or two of our players that maybe we don't expect to go, because you get an offer that you just say, right, well, actually we can go and get 2 for that, and that kind of sorts us out. It's my main concern with what's happening now is that we've got far too many players. We need to get some of them out the door, and I think this has just dragged on a little bit too long. And I think my concern when I heard that this was a loan with the young Serbian boy, I'm not attempting to say his name, when it was a loan. I thought, we did this last year. That's 3 loans at the back, but each and every one of them has got an obligation or an option to buy. So that I quite like that. I think that's more than what we had last season. I think the guys like Max Aarons and Jaden Magoma, there was no way we were going to keep these guys. Even when they came in the door, I think we all knew that wasn't going to happen. Whereas I can see the potential in keeping these boys this year. So I don't mind it. And what's happening with the outgoings are going to just take care of themselves, Stevie. We're all old enough and wise enough now to know that these things tend to take forever now. And as I say, one thing I will say about it though is that I was told that the minute Nico Raskin came back for the World Cup, the whole place got an enormous lift, and the dressing room and the training was much a happier place because he was there, because he's got an infectious personality. Where there was a lot of new boys and they're all trying to integrate, he really did help. So, which is great because you can just tell he's a lovely wee guy. So, if he does go, I wish him all the best. But we'll wait and see what happens over the next 10, 12 days.
Ross, what's your thoughts on the Nico Raskin situation?
The exact same as Kenny, Stevie. I would love to keep him for another, if he added another year on his deal again. Well, we've went through this period of massive change and a full overturn of the squad again. If you would sign a year's extension and then he came to the end of this season with 2 years on his deal, at least you wouldn't lose too much. It could work one or two ways, Stevie. It gets to the end of the window, other teams know that you're looking to sell him and it's your last chance, and you run the risk of getting lowballed, or you run the risk of teams who've maybe been monitoring him without putting in a bid since he came back for the World Cup, trying to stick in a late bid, and then those getting into a kind of bidding war with each other. I think the worst case scenario for Rangers would be, and it sounds terrible to say because he is such a good player, the worst case scenario for me would be leaving the window and Raskin then going into the next window 18 months on his deal, because as Kenny says, you can knock 5 million off his asking price at that point, and then if you don't sell him in the winter when you don't really want to be selling players, you're then down to half it by the time next summer comes. So to me, it's either he's got to sign another year, or we need to get rid of him. But the issue there is you need somebody to come in and pay the money for him as well. I know that McInnes has said that there's been a lot of interest. I think he categorised him as a flight risk for the World Cup, as if he maybe wouldn't be back at all. But he's back, he's playing, he looks fit and hungry. So you can't exclude him for the team. But it'll be an interesting last couple of weeks at the transfer window, just to see if any of that chatter around about him becomes concrete offers on the table, hard cash, or whether if it doesn't come in, Rangers then go to him and ask him to sign another year's extension, which is then we would find out if he really is wanting the Rangers to get the best fee for him, because that, to me, that's only two options. You sell him now, or he extends by a year to make sure you don't lose value on him come the winter.
All of which is fair. I think it's hilarious, the criticism we give for one of our best players who was at the World Cup and had a brilliant World Cup, and we're all in the comments just completely slagging him and everything else. I think it's ridiculous, to be honest. People are entitled to their opinion, run with it, but people that are saying there's stuff like comments like if Raskin was chocolate he'd eat himself, from people that have never met the guy in his life, and it's an absolute nonsense. He's one of the most generous lads I've ever met. So it's some of the stuff we say about our own players is wild. It really is. And yeah, I get it, we all have favourites and everything else, and he for me is by far the best player in this team. Does he blow hot and cold? Yeah, he does, absolutely. But some of the criticism of a guy that we could potentially get 21 million for, that had a brilliant World Cup, I just think it's wild. We're the only support that negatively talks so much about our players. I think it's crazy. McInnes also talked about the need to be as stingy as possible at the back, playing 4-3-3 at the weekend. It's given him food for thought. He felt we moved the ball quicker, better support in forward areas. We certainly did. The emphasis is very much on winning games. He doesn't care who is the favourite tomorrow. Kenny, this is a really difficult game again tomorrow. They're better than the Polish side. So for us, you know what happened to us in that game. This is a tough one. Does he stick with 4-3-3? For me, like genuinely, I think we stick with it. I thought we looked decent enough on Sunday. Yeah, St Mirren, but St Mirren have also won more league games than us, so let's not start, downplaying what they've done at the start of the season. So for me, it's a very good win, and we stick to what I think it suited a lot of the players.
Yeah, on the Nico Raska thing, I had a quick look at the comments here. Mind blown, some of them actually genuinely disappointing. But as you say, people are entitled to their own opinion, but he's a good player. But on this side, Jablonec or whatever they're called, listen, the Czech League's a good league. We've played enough of these sides over the last few years to know that, they might not be a Sparta or a Slavia or whatever, but they'll be a fine side. Again, I think we've been a little bit, when I say unlucky, I don't mean unlucky. Should we get past them? Yes, we should. We're Rangers, we should be beating a team like that. However, I always feel that when you're going to Eastern Europe, you know what you're getting. They are big, strong, technical, physical, everything that, and they're solid. They're always solid sides, and they're always difficult to play against. So they've won their last 6. I noticed that when I was doing the research for the agenda. They've played 7 games. They lost their first European tie, I believe, away from home. Seen that out at home, but they've won all their league games, I think, as far as I'm aware. And they're going to be a good side. They're going to be a tough nut to crack. They're coming here with confidence. We're not loaded with confidence. So when it comes to what you were saying about the shape, honestly, I don't want to sit and tell Derek McInnes' job. I'm in no position to do that. But if he changes for 4-3-3, I think I'll be raging tomorrow night, because that genuinely was free flowing. And we're a little bit open at times when, off the ball, we're not quite 100%. We understand that. However, I thought we were even a bit better off the ball on Sunday than we have been. I'd be delighted to see us play with the 2 wingers, the one up top, the 1-6, the 2-8s, as Ross was putting it, and play with your flat back 4 and get your full-backs going, because we're going to have to go and take a lead, because it's not going to be an easy game over in the Czech Republic and the heat that's over there and stuff like that. And it's going to be after, I know it'll be a wee little bit later, maybe 7 o'clock or whatever it is over there, but it's going to be roasting, it's going to be tough. And that, as I say, I will make no bones about this. Going to play a Czech side in a qualifier is never going to be easy. You know they're a good side. They can't not be. They're qualifying for Europe from a good league, so it's going to be tough.
It's going to be tough tomorrow night, Ross. How would you like to see them line up?
Mate, I think if you stumble on gold, you dig as deep as you can with it, don't you? I think we spoke last week, the 4-4-2 was getting ripped apart. We just never had the patterns of play off the ball where the movement should be, and we were cut open far too easy by every team that played against us. So in the 4-3-3, we seem to have found a fluidity in attack, but we also we're at 3 in midfield, whether it was 3-5-2 or 4-3-3, the 3 in midfield is helping make us more compact, and I think it's allowing other people to adjust. So I would go the 4-3-3, Stevie. I would possibly keep the exact same midfield and wingers as we played. Again, I've got bias. I would give Lawrence his crack back up front. I thought Nadiri scored the first goal, but I didn't think he'd done anything out with. And if you're playing with 2 wingers, 2 wing backs and 2 inside forwards, you want your you want your striker to be in the box because that's where the chances should come. And I think Nadiri, to his credit, works incredibly hard, but sometimes isn't where he should be. But to caveat that, Lawrence will need to be told to sit his behind in the box as well, because I feel as if he's also been trying too hard and then half park sprints, which is not what he's. It's just not his game, Stevie. If you put Lawrence anywhere in the 18-yard box and he gets one goal, he'll go on to score a load for Rangers. I've got no doubt of that. So that would be a change I would make. I would play Lawrence and I would put the new boy straight in at right back as well to give us that attacking threat. Apart from that, pretty much unchanged.
Yeah, I think I would start Costa as well at right back. Penrice on the left, McInnes, Fernandez in the middle. Pandur obviously plays in nets. The midfield three, I thought I would tell Nico, no matter what, you stay disciplined, because when he went ragged on Saturday, I think we lost our way quite a bit. When he was disciplined, I thought we were good. That allows Chukwani and Dragicevic to bomb on, and then Gassama again starts on the left. Same way Yokota starts on the right. I'm still starting Ryan Nadiri up front. I understand the Shanklin thing, but I'm quite happy for him to sit and wait his turn. I think Nadiri, the manager, talked a real lot about his press and how vital it is. I don't see this European game. I don't see him dropping it for him. So one change for me would be Costa coming in at right back in place of Dujon Sterling. Dujon Sterling inability to play a couple of times in a week and stuff as well. Having to manage his minutes, I would just put him straight in. He's up to speed. He's done a full summer and things as well. So no, he comes in and starts for me. Shanklin for Nadiri, I mean, I think I could possibly be persuaded if Shanklin just stayed up point and just didn't try and build up and stuff like that. Nadiri, to me, on Sunday was okay. I mean, obviously he's not getting a sniff, so it's between him and Shanklin. Shanklin hasn't been on the boil yet either, so it's like, who's going to be better? Who's got the better press and stuff like that? And for me, it's probably Nadiri. So I'm not sure. It was interesting he said today that Shanklin, when he joined, would be told he was a squad player and not playing every week, and he was fine with it. So I found that to be quite interesting. Moving on though, on to the signing stuff. The manager said that we're hunting for a number 9, but it's got to be the right number 9. He wants the next signings to be in the forward areas. He talked about wanting one more winger. It doesn't matter if it's a left or a right winger. Ideally, it'd be somebody who can play both sides. He just wants that wee bit of sparkle to add to the team. Those two forward players, as he puts it, number 9 and the winger, is the ones where he feels like he could make the difference. Chris Jack spoke to Chris today, and he's saying that Koza or Dewberry, he said this on Rangers Review, is very far away, nothing advanced, not surprised. He's not sure, not surprised if that goes elsewhere. The boy Mena is even further away, very unlikely. Seems agent driven. Deals are progressing and are close, but they're not out in the open. So that's interesting. Obviously, things can change. Nothing's ever spot on or whatever, Kenny, but a 9 and a winger, somebody can play both sides, that little bit of sparkle, is it what we need?
Kevin Kelsey and Václav Černý, there you go, there's your two, we'll take them, and I think we're done and dusted, aren't we? And I'd be quite happy with that, I've got to say. I think listen, over the piece, we're made some amount of signings, so that little bit of quality, that stardust that we're looking for up front, we've got to find it. Derek McInnes has been crying out for 6 weeks or something like that now, screeching at every press conference, almost pleading, pulling his hair out, can we get the quality up front that we need? So unfortunately, you two were talking about who you start. Chermiti was a certain starter tomorrow night if he's fit. He's a certain starter. So I think he'll go with Nadiri. I do. I think that's exactly what we'll do for his press, for his work rate. Maybe to the expense. I actually said it. I felt on Sunday that what Nadiri did was make space for others to run into. But On the transfers, yeah, we'll just need to wait and see. As I say, the Kevin Kelsey one's been talked about for a week or so. Whether that comes to fruition or not, I have no idea. But I do like the look of that boy. I've got to say, he does look a very tidy player. But on the winger, yeah, it's every other day we're getting linked with another one. So I just thought I'd throw Václav Černý back in there and just say, look, we'll go and try and get him, because at least we know what he can do. And I know he's probably out with a reach mate, so I'm kind of clutching, but I don't know. I genuinely feel that if you're going to turn around and fork out that kind of money, the Rangers have got a decision to make, because I feel signing a boy that played with Bolton Wanderers in League One last year and they want £10 million, for me, that's just too much for the boy Dubry. That's too much for a boy that's pretty much unproven it at any decent level. And I mean that no respect to League One down there. It's a good league and Bolton are a big club, but I'm not paying that for it. I would be uncomfortable paying that for a boy that age that's played in that league. So let's see what the recruitment team and the club can do over the next week or so and get the quality in. But the striker I would like, just purely on the basis that it's the one I've had a proper, half decent look at, is the big boy Kevin Kelsey. He looks a proper handful, so I'd like that.
Yeah, Ross, the manager wants a 9, and he wants a winger with Penrice and Costa in as your fullbacks. And if he's not going to do anything with the midfield or the centre backs, that looks like we're just about finished. So, would you be happy enough with that? Is that going to be enough?
I think you're always looking for more, Steve, aren't you? As fans, we've got every right to ask for more of the club, but within the club will know the feasibility of such deals. What I would say is we've got quite a varied squad now. You think of the squad that played at the weekend, you've got like a Tello Asgard, Dan Neil, players like that are they involved in that. Once Yokota can play more than a half, that'll help us out as well. Young Finn Curtis on the fringes. I think I would rather put the money into a winger as opposed to putting the money into a number 9. If you were looking at maybe one being 4 million and one being 10, I'd like to go and get a real game-changing winger, proven, as you say, Kenny, whether that is Václav Černý, whether it's gone back to a Sima. I would also like us to approach. I quite like McInnes at Motherwell last year. I think he could offer you something a bit different. He's the same again, can play on right or left, good finisher. Proved that last season. The boy Kelsey, Kenny, I'm the same as you. I've watched a bit of YouTube highlights and stuff. Looks big, physical. Looks essentially like exactly what you had with Chumiti, except maybe a bit more consistent. Maybe not as dynamic as Chumiti, but will give you the same kind of attributes: pacey, bit skillful, hold the ball up well, roll defenders, bring others into play. So I think, Stevie, if you look at the conversation we've had tonight, you'll get people who want another centre half. You'll get people that want another left back already, just in case Romans leaves for Bruges later on. You'll get people that want a Lewis Ferguson type. You have people that want another striker and another winger. So the club will never win. But for me, I think that we've got a broad array of options that we can switch between formations for certain games and not really weaken the team by bringing the support acts, if you like, into the bigger picture and to be able to deal with injuries and whatever else. If we can get somebody to cover the right wing with Dakota and potentially a different type of striker, I put Shankland and Miovski kind of together, and then you've got Nadiri, who is like a younger prospect, so maybe like a Chumiti regen. He's somebody who we can get who's going to offer us that more physical profile with maybe a bit more experience in Nadiri, because I do think Nadiri could become that with a bit more experience playing at this level. You forget sometimes that he did come for essentially German pub team football. So he's stepped up a right few levels, and it will take a bit of time to adapt before you can make him your number one man up there.
Yeah, I think that I'm not sure whether or not if we got a winger and a striker that would be enough. I would think that possibly one more is needed, but it'd be interesting to see exactly what sort of quality we get in, because that's the game changer for me. I've always said that a lot of the summer is going to depend on how we knit it all together. It's those quality additions that's needed. People saying, we've not really went for anybody in the middle, but what if Dragicevic is that man? What if he's the one that's going to add? What if the manager's seen enough that he thinks that he's going to be the one? What if McInnes is the answer at the back? The thing is, we'll need 6 months to have a look at this, but we don't get 6 months. We don't even get 6 minutes at Rangers. So it's a difficult one. I feel sorry for the kind of the squad in a sense that I feel like, does this make sense, Ken? I was talking about this on the Rangers Review article this morning. See if we'd done our transfer business almost back to front, the way we've done it at the now, where we spent big money on McInnes, we spent big money on Dragicevic, we spent the money on Pandur, we got all these guys in first, your Penrices, your Costas and stuff, and then we got Shankland, Devlin and stuff in. Do you think people would be more happy with the recruitment? Because I think genuinely that guys we've spent money on, the guys that we maybe got deals for waiting and stuff like that, I think they look decent. And I think if we try and take it in isolation of that, it might look better. If we'd almost done it flip back to front, then it could be a better feeling. But there's no doubt for me that they have to finish strong. If we're talking about getting 2 in, winger and a striker, they have to be first team game-changing players that can make the difference. And if they do come in and they do hit the ground with the quality and they're flying, then you never know what can happen.
But before I speak about it, I can guarantee one person that does agree with you, and that is the manager down at McInnes, because he's banging on about it all summer, about the quality he needs in particular areas. And, while we have, and I'm not trying to be too disrespectful, but while we've signed 375 centre mids and squad players, and without being disrespectful to any of the players again, because at the end of the day, we hope they all do a cracking job for us. But that's what we've done. We've actually padded out the squad and said, right, we need this, we need that, we need the next thing. Kind of waiting all summer to get the absolute quality that we need. We've got Yokota, who looks tidy, and as Ross has said, once he's up with full speed, I expect him to cause a few problems in our league. Gassama is now playing quite well. If you could get 90 minutes out of him, he's the same. However, we need cover. Finlay Curtis is going to be vital in terms of in and out of the squad, I think. And he mentioned today, didn't he, that it was a little bit uncomfortable for him seeing all these guys coming in, but it just going to make him work harder and make sure he gets games, which is good to see. And it's a great attitude for a young boy to have. And we've got lots of young players in our squad, Stevie. That is the one. You look at this now, that squad's a young squad. So what you need now, personally, is and I'm going to say this name again, but not because I think he's going to come, but somebody like Václav Černý, who is that little bit older, who can keep the front three together if Lauren Shankland's not in the pitch. Do you know what I mean? Because they're all quite young. So, yes, in a word, I totally agree with you that if we had went about it and signed them in reverse order, I think most folk would be quite happy, actually. But with the big but that we're still two or three genuine quality players short for me. We're still definitely one winger short. We need a replacement for Chermiti, and ideally I want to see a top class centre half come in. I think if we can go and spend, and I'm not saying we will, but see if we could go and spend £6-7 million on a centre half that we know is going to be here for the 5-6 years, that would be ideal. That'd be a very good transfer window for me.
Big thanks to Colin Kerr for his usual support. Gifted 24 Lads of Dream Rangers podcast membership. Thank you very, very much. Ross, somebody mentioned in the comments there, I think it's an interesting point, kind of squares it up, the transfer stuff. Are we still waiting on that marquee signing? And could it be one of the two that we end up with? And if it is, then that could make all of the difference.
We were going to say, someone in the comments has pointed out you're an absolute Ned, Ross, and it's a joke you're on this podcast. I thought you were going to hit me with that.
No,
hit me with the real news.
I hoped you didn't see that, but I will see, because you've said it, I will actually say something. See, if people want to be personally abusive to people, they'll just get banned straight away, and that person was banned straight away. Ross has been podcasting for a very long time. We're delighted to have you here. And anybody that comes on with personal criticism can either go and start their own podcast and be brave enough to fucking not hide behind a pretend name and do it themselves, or two, just get off our channel because we're not interested in it, mate. So ignore it and please carry on.
No, I actually get pulled aside by somebody who I've got a lot of respect for the other day. Sorry, I'm taking the podcast in another direction. Who said, Ross, why were you swearing so much on the podcast? You don't swear that much in real life. And I went, I think I'm just nervous. So that's how I've been on my best behaviour tonight, Stephen. I'm meant to remember that everybody can see and hear me and no be a Ned. So, sorry, I forgot what you were asking me, Stevie. I get caught up in my own joke there about the comments. Sorry.
No, what I was asking you is, somebody mentioned we're still waiting on the marquee signing. And I think that's an interesting point, because I kind of agree with it as such. You mean Dragicevic might turn out to be the marquee superstar, but it'll take time. Penrice, etc. These all might be cracking signings, but if one of the two are that marquee signing, that just might be the one that tips it.
Yeah, I actually think that the marquee signing has been identified, and they thought that Raskin would have been away by now, Stevie, to open up the funds for it. I definitely think the team needs a shot in the arm. I think that the support are craving a marquee signing, somebody big, whether it is a Lewis Ferguson or, as Kenny says, whether it is a real proven goal scorer that's going to be able to play up front on his own with games we need it, tough away games in Europe, somebody that can take the ball and shield it, hold it in, get us up the park, Old Firm games, somebody that's going to put the ball in the net. As much as I say, I believe we've got strikers that will put the ball in the net, and Miovski and Shanklin, somebody that's can do the whole piece, that can do the Chermiti piece and is as clinical as they do. So I think that the club owe the fans it for the support and the way we've spoke. The comments have been saying it all night. People have been commenting that McInnes has been asking for this publicly for the last 3 weeks, since before the last European tie where we dropped out. So I think that if I was sitting in the board of directors of Rangers, I would 100% be looking to do something that's going to wow, especially after the talk at the start of the season was some of the signings. Was it going to knock your socks off or something like that? There was a quote made by Kavanagh, and I don't think we've had that yet, Stevie. So hopefully they'll do that. But I think that it's potentially been held up by the fact that we've not got players out like Barron, like Raskin, who potentially Chermiti and Fernandez. We probably had earmarked another 20 or 30 million to spend, thinking we'd get rid of these boys, and we haven't.
I was going to say, I was trying to bring up a comment here that Kells will put up, and I can't find it for some reason now, but it was, and I'll quickly ask you boys, if you could sell Raskin and bring in Lewis Ferguson, would you do it, Kenny?
Yes, because it makes perfect sense, because Nico's going to go at some point, and if you can get a replacement as good as Lewis Ferguson is, then it makes absolute perfect sense. And that might well be the thing. I mean, Lewis Ferguson was speaking in an Italian newspaper magazine the other day, and basically said, I'm going to play for Rangers one day. I just want it to happen, basically. And, well, you're not going to get a bigger come and get me than that. So, however, that needs must, and you need the funds to do that. And I think that would be a wild signing, because you're going to go and break your transfer record to do it. You're going to bring a Scottish international. You're going to bring a future Rangers captain in. You're going to bring a guy that's just come on leaps and bounds since he went to Italy and was by far Scotland's best player at the World Cup for me. By a long, long distance, actually. He was easily their best player. So, yes, I would. I mean, there's no question in that for me. And they're not the same type of player, but I think, if, as you say, Ross, you said there, on the wow factor, I think that has got it, because we know Lewis Ferguson, we know what he is. He's one of our own, so it's a perfect signing for us.
Ross, would you do this?
Yeah, I definitely would, Stevie, and that's kind of what I'm alluding to. I think, Derek Ferguson told you that there's been conversations, and he actually sounded a bit peed off that nothing's came off the back of it, to be honest, as if you'd kind of got their hopes up and then no been back in. So I think that's one of the ones I'm talking about, mate. Although he's not a striker or a winger, I think if we can get Raskin out, I think that we will go and do the Ferguson deal. And it sounds as if Ferguson's all of a sudden now making noises to Italian papers, which essentially it sounds like to a layman like me, a come and get me play. I will play for Rangers, but they need to give me the chance. That to me sounds like I'm ready to fuse her. And I think that Nico could be the key to unlock that deal. But again, you need a buyer for Nico. You need someone to come in and put in the cold hard cash for him. But to be honest, if you had Lewis Ferguson and Dragicevic as your two box-to-box eights, one a bit more combative and a wee bit more defensive, and then the other one who wants to go and take shots for distance and stuff. I think Ferguson in Italy his scoring's kind of tempered itself down a wee bit, but he's always a goal threat. So if you do two as your eights and then just a six in behind them, I think that we could do well. And the good thing is we're talking about Raskin and Devlin playing that six role. But if Barron doesn't go, Barron can do that job really effectively. I'm a big fan of Connor Barron. Always have been. And Chukwani, then you've got somebody else that can step into that eight, and they're all kind of interchangeable because they can all do that defensive bit as well. So if you're asking me for a short answer, yeah, Steve, I would do that. If you want the long round the houses version, you got that as well. So there you go, 2 for 1.
Okay, so my answer to this is yes, 100%. However, I would sell Nico Raskin to whoever puts in a bid that suits Rangers. And because it's the right time for Rangers, it's the right time for Nico, and it's the right time for all of us to move on. If Nico Raskin was prepared to sign a new contract and be Rangers captain, then yep, absolutely, then I would look to do that. But our window to sell Nico is now. It should be sold now. So, and I'll be delighted for him if he moves on to a good move for him, and more importantly, a good move for Rangers. That's what I'll mainly be delighted about, because we want the big money, we want the best deal for us. So if we went and got Lewis Ferguson, oh yeah, absolutely, 5-year contract, I would love that. But we need a game changer, a winger, somebody that will help Yokota, somebody that will be able to dovetail with him. Somebody. Then if you've got Kasama, Curtis backing up a new winger and Yokota, I think would be okay in good positions. Finlay Curtis did speak today. Says it's been tough watching our players brought in. Confident in his own ability. Believes his part of his game are better due to the spell at Kelly. He's not fazed by the incomings. Takes confidence from what Mikey Moore achieved last year. He's been great working under a new manager. And McInnes has tried to encourage him with little bits and bobs to add to his game. He says he wants to be one of the best players in the league this year. It's a tall order for him. Absolutely. Finlay Curtis needs to add the kind of goals and numbers. He talked about it himself. But positive to hear from him. I think he's well involved in the squad. Whether or not I would have him starting, I actually think, and it's almost fine myself, questioning myself. Gassama, in the 60 minutes that he's played in both games, has been actually quite threatening. And if McInnes can continue to get something like that out of him, then we might be returning to the sort of player we thought was good last year. He needs to do it consistently, by the way, for like 6, 7, 8, 9 months of the season, not just 2 games. I understand that, and I have my doubts. But if you can get him in, Curtis, and another winger and stuff, I think we'll be quite strong.
For me, it's Finlay Curtis' breakthrough year. There was a reason why the kid wanted to go and loan himself and forced a loan, because he felt he had to play, and did well down at Kilmarnock. I expect him to feature and be in and out of the team all season, because the boy has the talent, but he's got plenty to learn. So he's not going to play 2 or 3 games every single week. He just won't, because he's still learning his trade. But I like the ambition that the kid's got. I like the way he's talking about, I want to be the best player in the league. Good. I like that. I actually think that's amazing. And you're sitting there thinking, well, got a wee bit of good news for you, lads. Oh, no, doesn't matter. But just sitting there saying what he's saying is great for me. I actually think we need another winger, at least, probably 2, and that's us.
Yeah, it's that star quality, I think. But I like Finlay Curtis. I think he'll do well. We need to give him time, Ross, to come into this team and do his thing. And a lot of people wanted him playing like from the start. It was going to be a wonder kid 1 game, and then they were like, he shouldn't be. He should be out on loan. We're too up and down. We need to just leave Finlay Curtis to get on with it.
Yeah, I really like that chat. I want to be the best player in the league this year, because see if he comes in and plays 30 games for Rangers, not talking full 90s obviously, but see if he plays 30 games this season, then that's an achievement. So he's aiming for the best, and if he lands somewhere under that, I would rather he was hoping to be the best player in the league than he was hoping to make 5 appearances this year, and that was his kind of goal, was just to play, say, double-digit appearances. So for me, that he's shown he's got desire. We know he's got ability. And what I quite like about it, Stevie, is it's going to let him, the fact that we're spending money on wingers and Gassama's had his a wee upturn in form, is it gives Finlay Curtis room to breathe. We've not got the expectation on him first few months of the season where he's having to play 90 minutes week in, week out, even if his form doesn't merit it, because there's no one else there. So I think that's a good thing. I think it's great that he's got the confidence to make statements like that. But see, at the end of the season, if he's not the best player in the league, nobody's going to come back and laugh in his face and say, you told us you were going to be the best. I think it's good for a young guy to be ballsy enough to put his cards on the table and say that he thinks he's got that ability. Because that'll do for me. I want players that are confident. I want us all to be blowing smoke up our own backsides and telling everybody, because see if we can get that mentality that we believe we've got the best players in the league and our players believe they are the best in the league, then maybe that will start manifesting itself on the park.
Yeah, and all there is to say, ladies and gentlemen, is that's our chat done for this midweek. Rangers will play Jablonec tomorrow evening. I don't even know if that's the right pronunciation. It'll be myself and Rob on the gantry. That'll go live on Friday. We may do a after-match pod telling you how that goes, depending on time. It is a late one tomorrow night, as usual. Thank you for everybody, almost everybody that's in the comments. I will end just before I say to the boys, I see trying to get people to come and do a podcast and be brave enough. It's difficult enough at the best of times, and then when you find good people like Ross and like Kenny, and people just come on and they're abusive and that, it really takes a lot for people to put themselves out the way and come on and give their opinion, and not only give their opinion but stand by it. So if you're going to be abusive in comments, people will be deleted and blocked. And I don't mean people disagree with me. Loads of people have disagreed with me about Raskin and some of my wild shitty takes, and I'm alright with that, because it's supposed to be like that. See, when you're at a pub and you know you're out with your mates, somebody always has a different opinion, and that's the whole point of it, and we're all here to discuss. But I won't have anybody coming on slagging off our podders personally or whatever. It just doesn't work for me, and I hope that people understand that. So, with all credit to the boys and my guest tonight, Kenny, as usual, thank you very much.
You just stole my thunder. I was going to say a wee bit something similar when it comes to Ross. I can't be bothered with that. I don't like it. People coming onto the comment section, you know yourself, you've had it, I get it, we all get it. So don't let it phase you, Ross, because it comes with the territory, and the bigger it is, the more abuse you tend to get. But people saying stuff and they've never met you, they don't know you, they don't know anything about you. And I just find it absolutely mental that the people can sit there behind their wee keyboards and sit there and shout and bawl and tell you what to do. Whoever it was, get in touch with us. Come on, see how you do, son.
Ross, I just like you because you've got great hair, mate. That's why you're here. So somebody needs to have it. But no, listen, thank you very much as ever for coming on.
No, thanks for having me, boys. It's that genuinely doesn't bother me, mate. I just thought I would throw it in just as a joke. No, listen, I'll come. I'll make my points. I'll try and get involved in the conversation, and if people don't like it, they don't like it. It's ironic because I actually said to you too, the last time we were on before the show, I'd listened to the pod back and I thought I sounded like an extra for chewing the fat. So it's just proved my point. You two were trying to be nice to me and telling me I was fine. That's good. I'm cool with that. Because that's me and that's who I am, and that's the over exuberance of youth, I like to call it, Stevie. So no, they'll no stop me from coming back on, and thanks to you, fine gentlemen, for A, inviting me on the pod, and B, for having me on this fine evening.
I was going to get the dog up to show people, but I can't see where she is, which is somewhat troubling. So yeah, I don't know where she is. She must be about somewhere. But anyway, big thanks to everybody in the comments, everybody that asked how she was doing. She's doing good. She's a menace, but yep, she's doing absolutely fine. So thank you to everybody that's participated in the show tonight. Huge thanks to our sponsors. Here we go again. CBD Oil Scotland. You can get 50% off by saying 4lads when you make a purchase on their website. Candid. Amrit will give you a discount if you go in and say 4lads as well. He doesn't know about it, but just tell him I sent you and it'll be absolutely fine. LBJ Consultants, Elite Scooter Scotland, Metaclad, 4lads official roofing contract, and here it is. Aesthetics Lounge by Sharon. You can get 10% off by saying 4lads as well when you book online using that. Denhay, the quintessential British bacon. We are getting some bacon from them soon, so we can all chomp it and it's going to be good. And also Athol Industrial Solutions, Ian and Debs. Thank you to all our sponsors. You guys make it possible. You will see our advertising around Ibrox. You'll see we're sponsoring players and stuff like that, and that's all thanks to our sponsors, and it's thanks to everybody that watches. If you use any of our companies, or you want to go online, or you want to follow them even on social media, that helps us because it shows them that we're advertising them and it helps us grow. Big thanks to our partners as well, Black Rooster, Art of Gold, and Rangers Youth Development Company. So thank you everybody. We'll be back tomorrow night from Ibrox with all the updates, the live show on Friday night as well. And yeah, good luck to Derek and the team tomorrow night. Let's hope for another good evening, follow on from Sunday, and let's hope that Rangers continue to build. A couple of those signings and some more good results will make everyone feel just a little bit better. Good luck to Dale and the team tomorrow. Cheers for now. The 4lads Rangers podcast is sponsored by Athol Industrial Solutions, Candid, LBJ Consultants, CBD Oil Scotland, Elite Scooter Scotland, and Metaclad, 4lads exclusive roofing partner. The Aesthetics Lounge by Sharon, Denhay, the quintessential British bacon. Thank you to our sponsors, and also to our partners, Black Rooster, Art of Gold, and Rangers Youth Development Company. Thank you for listening to or watching the podcast. We hope you enjoyed the show.